Coming up, a car crash leaves 6 people injured. And some students may have the option to go maskless to school. Also, Webb City kicks off homecoming.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5 a.m. I'm Tanya Bach. I've had a pretty good weather to start off our work week, but
you may want to ask the people out in western southeast Kansas about that.
well, in our viewing area anyway.
They couldn't get a break yesterday. That's where we saw the majority of our rainfall. We'll break down that dividing line that really did ride southeast Kansas between the western and central portions right there. It is comfortable though, 67 degrees. We've got a slow-moving humid air mass that is now moving over southwest Missouri. That's why that humidity in Joplin's all the way up to 90%. So it's going to be twofold today. Instead of looking down to the south like we did yesterday, now we'll turn our attention to this large one moving out of western and central Kansas for the western portion of the 4 states, and we've got a low pressure system over northeast Arkansas that, instead of moving up the Mississippi, is actually going to head toward us, and that thing's got some lightning with it as well. This is what I was talking about, Tanya. Look at this dividing line from yesterday when we talk about our rain totals. You take the Lebec County, Montgomery County line right there. It's got a little bit into Labco, but you draw about a straight line on that, and there are places out there in the blue, just on the other side of the state line, Oklahoma-Kansas state line. They end up getting 3/4 of an inch. So it wasn't one of those that, you know, it's sprinkled or anything like that. But then you go central east and dry as a bone. And for the last 2 weeks, we have had below average rainfall. So we actually are in need of it a little bit. Whole lot of 67s and 66s hanging on right now. And so that gives you kind of an overview of those two systems that we were talking about. And as far as the severe thunderstorm risk map goes, nice thing is we are not expecting any type of severe weather. You know, we know what thunderstorm activity is. No wind, no hail. That's the good thing. Still going to make it up in the low 80s today. Temperature's going to be similar, but here we go. This is the bookends that we've been talking about from last week. Watch how they kind of collapse on us for really about, it begins about noon out in the west, and then right there, look at the collision course between those two for the afternoon and evenings. And then what do we do overnight? We calm down again. Then we get ready for Friday, and we're going to have more thunderstorm activity for Friday afternoon, evening into high school football. The western portion that already started yesterday, by the time it's said and done, it's going to be interesting to reflect on this come Sunday. We'll do it Monday morning. Just exactly how much rain you're going to see out in the west compared to what you're going to see on the east side of southwest Missouri.
Yeah.
There's going to be a big difference.
Which is funny because it's usually like the other way around.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, Michael.
No flood warnings, watches, even advisories. So we did manage to escape that.
We'll take that. All right. Thanks, Michael. 6 people are injured from a crash on Missouri 171 near Asbury. According to the Missouri Highway Patrol, a work truck was westbound on Baseline Boulevard yesterday afternoon when it failed to stop at Highway 171. It then crashed into the side of an SUV that was southbound on the highway. Both vehicles went off the road into a nearby field. The work truck then caught fire. A medical helicopter took one of the injured people to the hospital. Metz, Carl Junction Fire, the Missouri Highway Patrol, and the Jasper County Sheriff's Office all responded to the crash. There's no word on the condition of any of those injured. CDC says an increasing number of children are hospitalized for COVID-19. Freeman Health System yesterday hosted a media briefing to discuss pediatric COVID cases in the Joplin area. Right now, all children hospitalized for COVID at Freeman are unvaccinated.
The age range has been from less than 2 weeks to almost 18. And then the vaccination status was unvaccinated, some due to age.
Freeman pediatricians say they have also seen severe symptoms in some child COVID patients and say they recommend eligible children to get vaccinated. Joplin and Crawford County Health Departments report more COVID-19 deaths. In Joplin, 2 more people died with COVID-19, bringing the total number of deaths in the city to 173. The patients were an 82-year-old woman and a 78-year-old man. 6 more people in Crawford County have died with the virus since last week. That brings the total number of COVID deaths in Crawford County to 113. Students in Crawford County, Kansas could soon have the option to go maskless in class. After meeting with the Crawford County Health Department, the Pittsburgh School Board has determined that starting October 4th, students have the option to go maskless if the following countywide requirements are met. Crawford County must have 40 or fewer new COVID cases per week. The county's case numbers must be stable or trending downward. Local hospitals must have space for COVID-19 patients, and school absences caused by COVID must be under 3%.
I think a return to normalcy is important, but I think it's also important to remember that we're going to continue to look at data. And if the data shows us that we start having an increase again, this gives us the flexibility to go back en masse to make sure that we're keeping our staff and our students safe.
Crawford County Health Department director and a Pittsburgh High School student share their thoughts on the new mask policy coming up later in the show. Missouri Southern yesterday hosted a regional college fair. It was a chance for high school students to get information about area colleges as they decide where to attend. More than 30 colleges and universities attended, including Kansas City, Missouri University, and Missouri State.
They have the opportunity to kind of get an idea of what they want to do, where they want to go in the future, because ultimately it's about the students. Even if they don't choose Missouri Southern, we still want them to know what they want to do with their future, and so that's what this is for, is to help them make decisions, get those connections, and start working towards their future.
The fair was held in conjunction with the Missouri Association of College Admission Counseling. Webb City is celebrating homecoming this week. Yesterday, folks gathered along Main Street for a parade. The night culminated with a bonfire at a field near the middle school. Lots of food trucks and fun for the family.
Older years, that's what they did before big games. They had a big bonfire, and that's where we kind of decided to bring this back. And, you know, not everything from the past is bad.
And the homecoming week celebration didn't stop there. Local businesses like Maggie Jane's didn't hesitate to paint their locations and the town red in support of their Cardinals.
We're all about the community. We want to make sure we support Webb City. We want to support the schools 100%. And by that, we can decorate our window with painting the town red and make sure the schools and all the kids know that we support them and we can do everything we can.
The Webb City athletes will welcome in Branson for their homecoming game on Friday. It's 5:07.
All right, right now we're being bookended. The rain stays off to the far west, stays off to the far east, but these two are actually going to work their way toward us, both of them, as a matter of fact. Most of the lightning staying out to the west right now. Temperatures in between 66 and 67. And here we go. Once we get past the KOAM news at noon, then we pick up action. You can see the collision course right there. So everybody in the central and eastern portion that managed to stay dry yesterday, that will not be the case by the time we get done with today nor tomorrow. Now, as we get into tomorrow afternoon, we begin to pick up, rolling right along the old I-44 corridor from Friday into early Saturday morning. Temperatures going to remain mild into the weekend as we close out September and open October.
This morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News, it's rival week as MSSU takes on Pittsburgh State. The rising cost of childcare. Should mothers stay at home with the kids? And some businesses want proof of vaccination before you enter. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. More real news in the morning. We'll be right back.
It is rivalry week for Pittsburgh State and Missouri Southern football. If you're headed out to Fred G. Hughes Stadium this weekend, do take an umbrella as the Lions host the Gorillas on Saturday, week 5 of the MIAA schedule. Southern enters the weekend with a 1-3 overall record. Pitt State 3-1, winning back-to-back games over Northeastern State and Emporia State. Now for the Lions, a lot of young guys on the team who have not gotten to play in this rivalry yet. One person who has, however, that is Southern head coach Atiba Bradley. He lined up for Southern against the Gorillas from 2002 to 2005.
I hate Welcome to the Jungle. They played on their kickoffs. So I remember playing there. You know, we had some really good games. We had some really good back and forth. But the fun part about it as a player is that, and especially a player from the 4 states, is you see so many guys that either live in Kansas and come over here to work, or guys that from the area that decide to go play over there. So there's just so many common relationships that you find when you're playing this game.
And we'll get the flip side as we'll hear from the Gorillas on Saturday's matchup right here tomorrow morning. NEO Golden Norsemen at home this weekend, taking on Ellsworth. The Norse aiming for back-to-back wins after beating Navarro on homecoming last Saturday. NEO 1-2 in the first three games. Last time out against Navarro, their offense showed some big-time signs of life after scoring just 10 points in the first two games combined. NEO went out and dropped 39 points. Rushed for 467 yards as a team. Had 5 players rack up at least 50 yards on the ground.
It's a big deal. We ran the ball a lot. We had 3 guys that were close to 100 yards. We had 2 that did have 100, and then our quarterback had 85. I was very, very proud and pleased with our offense and just the work they put in all week and the way they blocked and the way they carried out fakes and the way they did everything that they were supposed to do that we've been talking about all week. You go watch the very first play of our game last week. We had a double team go 30 yards down the field. And we're going to play a very, very physical brand of football and a very true to being a sound offense and defense as we can, and that really showed up last week.
All right, so we know the St. Louis Cardinals have earned a spot in the postseason. They've wrapped up that second wild card spot in the National League, did so with a win against Milwaukee just yesterday. Now the question is that 17-game winning streak, 17 games, third longest streak in baseball in the last 60 years. How long can it continue? Well, the Brewers would score 4, even though they would only need 1. In the 6th, Daniel Vogelbach hammers it high and deep off Miles Michaelis. Cardinals down 3-0. Next inning, Andrew Miller on the mound. It's Manny Pena solo shot up by Big Mac Land. And then in the 9th, hey, we got former Crowder College Rough Rider Aaron Ashby. That's right, he's going to the playoffs with the Brewers. Gets Paul DeYoung to end it. Brewers win 4-0 with Ashby on the mound for the final out. Cards winning streak, it does end, but what an amazing 17-game run. Kansas City Royals also in action against the Indians, and Salvador Perez alert. He did it. He hit home run number 48 last night. Perez has now tied the franchise record of 48 home runs in a year, previously set by Jorge Soler back in 2019. Of course, he already holds the record for most home runs in a single season by a catcher. Now the question is, from tonight into Sunday, can he get to the mythical 50 home run number as a catcher? What an amazing season. Still to come on the KOAM Morning News. Perhaps happiness is a protection against dementia. And a check on our 7-day forecast when the KOAM Morning News returns.
The hardest part.
17 on this Thursday morning. We're a little weather on the 7s. About a quarter of the 4 states got rain yesterday, and then 3/4 of it probably looking at the radar going, hey, you want to filter a little bit this way for us? We'll get there eventually. 67 degrees is where we stand. That humidity rising all the way up to 90% as we go back to the precipitable water map. Remember, the blue and purple indicates extremely dry. Lighter the blue into the orange and yellow, that's more humidity. And so what we've got is this system right here that is actually going to be able to infiltrate into our counties, and then with double barrel action because we've got more rain sitting out to the west. Now, for the most part, here we sit at 518, and we've even got clear skies for most of the 4 states. As far as the rain, that's that dividing line I was talking about from yesterday. Really, we saw anywhere from 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch, especially right along the Oklahoma-Kansas state line by Montgomery, Washington, and Newata counties. And then it didn't penetrate to the east at all. Whole bunch of 66 and 67s as far as our temperatures go. Contiguous 48, yeah, right along the dividing line there through western Kansas all the way up to Iowa. That'll play a role for us, as will that one right now in northeast Arkansas. But we're not expecting any severe weather. It'll be thunderstorm activity. Well, some thunder and some lightning in there, but we will avoid the high winds and the hail. Our weather trend is going to put us up into the low 80s, and it'll be a little bit here before we get the rain. Really shouldn't affect our morning commute. But by the time we get around the lunch hour, then we see it begin to move in. You almost notice it's those two systems that collide on each other. And they take us all the way through Thursday night. Now, as we push into Friday, it's a little bit more scattered there, and you see it actually is affecting the south and a little bit of the east, but the west is really going to pick up a lot. Now, as we push into Friday evening, we get ready for some high school football. Yeah, scattered thunderstorm activity that's going to ride I-44 all the way into Saturday morning. We've got Gorillas, Lions at Fred G. Hughes in Joplin. Take the umbrella. The rain sticks around on Saturday. Very comfortable out there, though. Might be a little bit sticky in your rain gear because of the humidity, but at least we're not going to be sweltering. Time now to turn our attention to the KOAM News Now Facebook page and our morning Insta poll. About $450 billion of a spending bill is being debated on Capitol Hill. It aims to lower the cost of child care and increase access. That's an important issue to parents nationwide. As a new Treasury report calls the current system unworkable. Nancy Cordes reports on the rising cost of child care.
Heidi Ford of Jacksonville, Florida, intended to go back to event planning full-time after having her daughter Willow. But then she discovered that even part-time childcare would cost nearly as much as her rent.
All of the women that I work very closely with are all moms, and so they're struggling with the exact same thing.
Nationwide, the average cost of care per child is $10,000 a year. In 32 states, infant care is more expensive than in-state college tuition.
The system shattered.
Lynette Fraga is the CEO of Child Care Aware, which advocates for affordable care. She calls the $3.5 trillion bill that's consuming Congress this week historic.
What does this bill do to bring down the cost of child care? So it provides opportunities for families not to pay more than they can afford.
For starters, the bill would subsidize care, so most families of young children would spend no more than 7% of their income on it. The bill would also fund universal pre-K for 3- and 4-year-olds and boost wages for the early childhood workforce. The average pay right now, $12.24 an hour.
We're professionals. We have degrees.
Jody Lamberti co-owns a daycare in Columbia, Maryland.
We work 50 hours a week taking care of the children so that everybody else can go to work.
But overhauling an industry isn't cheap. Republicans say the bill adds too much to the debt, so the president needs every Democrat to get on board. The outcome could impact tens of millions of parents.
I don't think that there should be anything debatable about that. They need to make the decisions to get this passed so that we can work.
Our specific question for you this morning: should parents stay home with their children or work and leave the kids with someone else? Let us know by going to KOAMNewsNow.com/vote or connect to us via the KOAM News Now Facebook page. We'll be back with Healthwatch next.
There's
Tapping Healthwatch this morning, LA could require proof of vaccination or a negative COVID test to enter businesses. Los Angeles City Council was supposed to vote on it yesterday, but pushed it back until next week. Leslie Martin has more on how this decision could impact LA.
From masks and partitions to a sign at the door that reads, "We are keeping it clean and safe for all." Lala's Argentine Grill in Studio City feels they're already doing all they can to keep up with the city's pandemic ordinances.
Yeah, we got outside, we got inside. We separate tables by the rules.
But Lala's, along with almost every indoor business in the city of LA, may soon be hit with another ordinance requiring customers to show proof of vaccination.
I think it's going to be kind of impossible because it's already hard to ask people to use a mask.
The ordinance would require proof of vaccine or a negative COVID test to enter restaurants, bars, malls, gyms, movie theaters, and personal care businesses. The city council was expected to vote on it Wednesday, but after more than an hour of deliberation, Councilman Joe Buscaino withheld his vote. He told us why.
It's not clear, it's confusing. Its sunset date is not even tied to any health outcomes, which is another concern. And also I heard today that the agency that's charged with enforcement of this ordinance, the Department of Building and Safety, testified today that they don't even have enough staff to carry out this additional responsibility.
The city council will now vote on it next Wednesday. President Nuri Martinez predicting it will pass.
No one is forcing anyone to get vaccinated, but if you don't, there are certain things you will not be able to do.
If the ordinance passes, businesses could face anywhere from a warning on their first offense up to a $5,000 fine. Back at Lala's, they're left wondering what toll this will take on their business.
It's going to be harder to, if they ask for approval of vaccinated to get in on the restaurant. It's going to affect the business.
Many businesses across LA County have already decided to require proof of vaccination. The city of Pasadena and West Hollywood are also considering a similar mandate. Now, if the city of LA does pass this, it could go into effect by November 4th.
Well, this vote could have a serious impact on LA businesses and how they operate. It could potentially lead to businesses closing due to lack of business. Type 2 diabetes patients face a greater risk of dying from COVID-19. European researchers discovered that nearly a quarter of type 2 patients admitted into intensive care died within 7 days of being hospitalized from COVID. According to their study, about a tenth of type 2 patients also needed insulin infusions while battling COVID. Staying happy during early adulthood could help ward off dementia as you age. A new study in the Journal of Alzheimer's Disease links poor mental health and cognitive decline. Researchers say young adults who deal with elevated symptoms of depression are 73% more likely to face dementia. The study also found stress could damage your brain's ability to make new memories. Missouri Southern students get a lesson in patience and relaxation. University hosted an event allowing students to make their own mini Zen garden. It's part of the school's Japan semester. Students created a miniature stylized landscape with carefully composed arrangements.
For me specifically, I don't know culturally, but I think it's like a sand garden and you kind of put a whole bunch of designs in it and it's something to help you relax. It's a satisfying thing for me.
This week's Japan semester events also included a showing of the 2001 animated fantasy Spirited Away. That's a look at some of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
Rolling about 66 and 67 being the dominant numbers right now as far as our temperatures go. It is humid outside. A little double barrel action, one to the west, one to the east, but as we sit here at 5:30, we're looking good to go. Eventually, when we get past the noon hour, here comes the rain from both sides. So everybody that stayed dry yesterday, get a little scattered variety today. And then as we break late tonight into Friday morning, we're going to roll the I-44 corridor all Friday into Saturday morning. Temperatures are nice to begin October. It's just going to be a wet one. Then again, we're in need of a little rain.
Coming up, a car crash leaves 6 people injured. And some students may have the option to go maskless to school. Also, Webb City kicks off homecoming.
It's now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5:30. I'm Tanya Bach. We've got rain headed into the 4 states. Let's go straight to Michael Hayslip for a first look.
We got to keep our, remember what my Kenny Cook, who's got family out in Chanute, by the way. Long story. I'm from Texas, and he's got family in Chanute. Hayslip, get your rear end down, keep your head on a swivel. Because we got rain to the left, we got rain to the right. Here in the 4 states for Thursday morning, we're perfectly fine. Eventually it'll get here, though. Current conditions over 7th and Range Line, 67 degrees. Look at that humidity bumping up to 90%. So here's what we're talking about. Kind of look at the Midwest as a regional aspect. You can see all that rain moving through central Kansas. It's headed here. And then we've got a low pressure system in northeast Arkansas. And instead of it working its way up the Mississippi like it normally would, nope, it's actually going to take a little westward movement. So it's almost like we're looking at a collision course. Now, as far as our rain goes yesterday, everybody in the central and eastern part going, what rain are you talking about? Well, look at this. Got as much as half to 3/4 of an inch out in western southeast Kansas, where that line moved up out of east central Oklahoma and just stayed on that line all day and afternoon long. Did not want to budge to the east any scotch. 66 to 68 is what we're looking at as far as temperatures go. Now, when we talk about the afternoon hours, you'll notice we don't even make the marginal category. So while we'll have thunder and lightning, no wind, no hail, and that'll be nice, and temperatures very, very moderate. We'll go low 80s, maybe even high 70s here after the rain begins. So there we go. One from the west, one from the east. And I'm not talking about heavy rains, it's more scattered right there, but you'll notice it takes us all the way into Thursday night. Western portion of the 4 states going to have a whole lot more rain build up by the time we get to Sunday. All right, here we jump into Friday afternoon. We're going to reload and do it again. High school football, yep, we'll plan on having an umbrella, if not the rain gear, handy. And then as we push through Friday night, it lasts to Saturday morning. For those of you getting ready for Pitt State, Missouri Southern, plan on having more rain gear available for that as well. Give it a day to dry out if you're going to roll the Friday, Saturday double bang. 7-day forecast. Temperatures very nice to close out September and open up October. And Tanya, it's been a dry 2 weeks. We're actually in need of this. We don't have any flooding concerns right now. If we can keep it scattered the way it was, I understand that the West is going to have a whole lot more, but it'll be welcome by the time we get done with Sunday.
There you go. Yeah, definitely need. All right, thanks, Michael. The CDC says an increasing number of children are hospitalized for COVID-19. Freeman Health System yesterday hosted a media briefing to discuss pediatric COVID cases in the Joplin area. Right now, all children hospitalized for COVID at Freeman are unvaccinated.
The age range has been from less than 2 weeks to almost 18. And then the vaccination status was unvaccinated, some due to age.
Freeman pediatricians say they also have seen severe symptoms in some child COVID patients and say they recommend eligible children get vaccinated. Classrooms in Crawford County, Kansas could become mask optional, but only if the county meets certain coronavirus-related health requirements. KOAM's Mike Mahoney spoke with the USD 250 superintendent and the director of the Crawford County Health Department to learn more.
Face masks in the classroom has been a contentious topic across the country, but the USD 250 school board has crafted a solution that hears the concerns of both sides.
We've been working with Crawford County Health Department and our health officer to come up with criteria so that it does provide that sound basis that if we do decide to go mask optional, that it will be based on something that is vetted by KDHE and local data.
Starting October 4th, Crawford County students have the option to go maskless if the following countywide requirements are met. Local hospitals must have space for COVID-19 patients. School absences caused by the coronavirus must be under 3%. Crawford County's case numbers must be stable or trending downward. And Crawford County must have 40 or fewer new COVID-19 cases per week.
If we have more than 40 active cases, new cases a week, then it's going to put more pressure on the community system, on the hospital systems, on the medical systems. So that's how we came up with 40 cases.
Pittsburgh High School freshman Blake Posnick says he thinks the new class mask option is a winner.
I think it's a really good option because some kids just hate the masks in general and they'd be happy to take it off. And so I think that it would be a good choice in general because and it also gives the option that the people that still want to wear their masks can still wear the mask.
The new class mask policy goes into effect next week, but will the county have met the school board's criteria to give students a mask option?
We won't make the official announcement until the end of the week, but the numbers are definitely trending that way.
In Crawford County, Kansas, Mike Mahoney, KOAM News.
Superintendent Profit also says he and other superintendents will meet with the health department at the end of each week to discuss local data and then let parents and students know if classes are mask optional for the following week. Webb City is celebrating homecoming this week. Yesterday, folks gathered along Main Street for a parade. The night culminated with a bonfire at a field near the middle school and lots of food trucks and fun for the family.
Because back in older years, that's what they did before big games. They had a big bonfire, and that's where we kind of decided to bring this back. And, not everything from the past is bad.
And the homecoming week celebration didn't stop there. Local businesses like Maggie Jane's didn't hesitate to paint their locations and the town red in support of their Cardinals.
We're all about the community. We want to make sure we support Webb City. We want to support the schools 100%. And by that, we can decorate our window with painting the town red and make sure the schools and all the kids know that we support them and we can do everything we can. Webb City will welcome in Branson for their homecoming game on Friday.
That's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. As the Taliban tightens control, Afghanistan grows silent. Plus, a judge makes a ruling in the conservatorship of Britney Spears. We'll have the latest, but first, it's 5:37.
How tempted were you to just say leave Britney alone? You did think about it. Okay. I knew you were thinking about it. Tanya, all the lightning that we're seeing right now is staying off to the western portion of that system. The one coming out of northeast Oklahoma, that will be a little bit of a boon rain-wise for southwest Missouri. It's moving pretty good right along the state line right there, about to make its way over the Ozarks. So we'll have scattered rain, really not starting though until the noon hour. So really shouldn't affect the morning commute. And then we'll roll that from this afternoon into the evening. We'll be back with World Watch next.
Topping World Watch, a harsh new reality in Taliban-controlled Afghanistan. Among the many other political and social changes the group has instilled since taking over Afghanistan, Clarissa Ward shows us another faucet no longer ringing through the streets. No more music.
This neighborhood used to be full of musicians and music stores selling instruments. Now you can see almost all of the shops here have been shut down.
Oh, this is you singing. Yeah.
Down the street, we meet musician Mustafa Nouri. He tells us he has been forced to sell street food since the Taliban took over. The entire area of Khorabat is full of musicians, he says. But since the Taliban came, they stopped the music, and our work has ended. As we're talking, a red car pulls up.
So it looks like the Taliban have arrived here? Does it make you nervous to see them coming up and down the street like this?
Of course I am afraid, he says. When we see them normally, we go into our houses. The Taliban haven't officially banned music, but the musicians tell us the fighters regularly threaten them not to play their instruments.
So the Taliban are here again, driving past us.
You can imagine how intimidating that is for people in this neighborhood, just to have them with their weapons driving up and down the street all the time.
As we start to leave, a man invites us into his house. He says he hasn't taken his tabla out of its case since the Taliban took over.
I imagine that music is part of your heart. It must hurt not to be able to play anymore.
If we can't play, then we feel depressed and our hearts cannot breathe, he tells us. Nothing is left. The music has ended. He says he doesn't know how long they can continue to live like this. He starts to tap the tabla lightly. His reflexes take over. And for a brief moment, he is free.
Clarissa Ward, CNN, Kabul. Thank you.
Let's look at some of your biggest headlines from around the world. Let's toss it over to Michael for our Something to Talk About.
Thank you, Tanya. This morning on the KOAM News Now Facebook page and our morning Insta poll, affordable child care. As families across the country struggle to make ends meet, many working mothers and fathers struggle to figure out the balance between work and child care, dealing with the cost of child care because it can run quickly into the tens of thousands of dollars. So you got parents facing very tough decisions. Part-time work versus full-time work versus stay at home. Our question to you specifically this morning, should parents stay at home with their children or go to work, leave the kids with someone else? Right now, 84% saying, hey, do what you got to do and stay home with the kids. You can make your voice heard, and we continue to update the poll throughout the course of the show. KOAMnewsnow.com/vote is your direct link to get there, or you can connect to us via the KOAM News Now Facebook page. We'll be back with the news you need to know before you head out the door right after this.
Here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. 6 people are injured from a crash on Missouri 171 near Asbury. According to the Missouri Highway Patrol, a work truck was westbound on Baseline Boulevard yesterday afternoon when it failed to stop at Highway 171. It then crashed into the side of an SUV that was southbound on the highway. Both vehicles went off the road into a nearby field. The work truck then caught fire. A medical helicopter took one of the injured people to the hospital. Mets, Carl Junction Fire, the Missouri Highway Patrol, and the Jasper County Sheriff's Office all responded to the crash. There was no word on the condition of any of those injured. Joplin and Crawford County Health Departments report more COVID-19 deaths. In Joplin, 2 more people died with COVID-19, bringing the total number of deaths in the city to 173. Patients were an 82-year-old woman and a 78-year-old man. And 6 more people in Crawford County have died with the virus since last week. That brings the total number of COVID deaths in Crawford County to 113. Webb City celebrates homecoming this week, and yesterday folks gathered along Main Street for a parade. The night culminated with a bonfire at a field near the middle school, lots of food trucks, and fun for the family. Missouri Southern hosted a regional college fair on Wednesday. It was a chance for high school students to get information about area colleges as they decide where to attend. More than 30 colleges and universities attended, including Kansas University, Missouri University, and Missouri State. That's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door.
6 to 68, dominant number. Also, too, it's a tad bit humid out there, but no worries for the morning commute, and here's why. Everything's going to stay out to the west and out to the east for the time being. That's going to change here for the afternoon, but even the lightning. Woo! Look at that! Look at that line of lightning that they got out there in central Kansas. I'm kind of go jockey back and forth here so you can get an idea exactly where it is. Not a whole lot of lightning with this one out of northeast Arkansas that's also headed our way. Still able to make it up into the low 80s today. The clouds, it's going to be like yesterday. Those clouds are going to roll in pretty fast this morning, and then we're going to sit back and wait for the scattered rain. It's really going to be the western part of our 4 states that's going to end up with the most accumulation by the time we get to Sunday, excuse me. But I think we can feed a little bit to the east and central part by the time Thursday's over. And then as we get into Friday, watch the old I-44 corridor here because everything's going to move up from the south. There we see more rain for the west. It's Friday night though, look at that southwest and northeast movement, and it's going to continue to roll through all the way into Saturday. 7-day forecast going to kick off October with nice temperatures, so at least it's not going to be sweltering out there with the rain, but really not going to let up until we get done with a Sunday. Be back with more KOAM Morning News right after this.
An emancipation day of sorts for Britney Spears. The pop singer has emerged from a 13-year conservatorship controlled by her father. Anthony Pura has more from outside the courthouse in Los Angeles.
Britney Spears is no longer under the control of her father. A Los Angeles judge has suspended the legal agreement that has ruled the 39-year-old pop singer's life for the past 13 years and has appointed a temporary conservator to replace her father, Jamie Spears, effective immediately.
Today is a great day. It's a great day for Britney Spears, and it's a great day for justice.
Dozens of fans showed up at the courthouse to support Spears.
The United States government has failed Britney Spears. Her family's failed Britney Spears, so we're out here as her advocates.
Jamie Spears has made day-to-day and financial decisions on his daughter's behalf under a court-appointed conservatorship since 2008, when the pop singer suffered an apparent mental health crisis. But earlier this summer, the elder Spears filed a petition to end his role after his daughter sought to have his control taken away.
In court documents filed before the hearing, Britney's lawyer said her father crossed unfathomable lines by allegedly monitoring his daughter's emails, texts, and calls and having a listening device planted in her bedroom.
In her ruling, the judge agreed removing Spears' father from the conservatorship was in Britney's best interest. Some of the restrictions have already been loosened. Spears recently got engaged to her longtime boyfriend and has bought her first iPad and a car. Jamie Spears' suspension is not appealable. Anthony Pura, CBS News, Los Angeles.
Britney Spears was not present at yesterday's hearing. A hearing to terminate the conservatorship is set for November.
One step closer.
Hit me one more time.
Yeah. Well, I've always said somebody her age should be able to make their own decisions. That's for sure.
39 years old, right?
Yep. All right, Tanya, you can always log on to the KOAM Instagram page. That's right, we're on the gram now, and give you You can tell the gram is dominated by the weather geeks here at the station. All you do is click on that, and gives you that same forecast that you're also going to find at MHayslip, KOAM. Just like I said, nothing but 30, 45 seconds, get you going on your day each and every morning. And then you can flip on over to the KOAM News Now Facebook page, because that is where we pose our morning Insta polling question each day. And our question this morning is coming off of child care costs and parents facing a dilemma when it comes to, do I find part-time work? Do I find full-time work? If I do that, what do I do with the kids? How do I pay for that? Is the job worth the expense of finding the child care? So our question is, simply put, is should parents stay at home with their children or work and leave the kids with someone else? Right now, 75% of you say if it comes down to that, go ahead and stay home with the kids. Each and every morning you take part by going to komnewsnow.com/vote, or like I said, via Facebook. We'll be back, update the Skywatch storm tracker right after this. Looking out to the west, looking out to the east, we're off to a nice clean, clear start. But both these are headed our way. I put the lightning there in pink so it shows up a little better. So lightning's actually diminishing as this moves toward us, so that's a good thing. Remember, scattered rainfall throughout the course of the afternoon into the evening. Hopefully we can get a little bit for southwest Missouri, unlike we did yesterday. Western portion of southeast Kansas, yep, you're going to get more today.
Coming up, a car crash leaves 6 people injured. And some students may have the option to go maskless to school. Also, Webb City kicks off homecoming.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 6 a.m. I'm Tanya Bach. We've got rain in the 4 states this morning.
I got very excited there for a second when you were reading the intro.
Oh.
I thought you said mathless, like M-A-T-H.
That would upset some people and really excite others.
But for me, I was like, what? When did this become an option? The mathless variety, trust me, Wanda Carter, shout out to Miss Wanda, one of my great math teachers, who told me, I tell you what, I'm going to let you pass this class as long as I never see your face again. I said, thank you, Miss Carter. I love you. Current conditions over 7th and Rangeline, 67 degrees. The humidity still increasing. We're now up to 93%. It is a little bit sticky outside. But we've got clear skies even for the majority of the 4 states, even though we've got rain out to the west and rain to the east. And put the lightning there in pink so it's more easily identifiable than it was in the yellow. And that lightning is actually a whole lot less than what we had maybe just 15, 20 minutes ago. So at least it is beginning to break up. And then down here, this came out of northeast Arkansas. And usually it would take up the Mississippi, but no, it's actually going to head toward us, which if you look at where we got all the rain yesterday, I know everybody in southwest Missouri who've been extremely dry over the past 2 weeks would like a little rain there. And so hopefully that one from northeast Arkansas can eventually get here, and it will. 65 to about 68 is where we stand temperature-wise. And nice on the severe thunderstorm risk map that we don't even hit the marginal category. So even though we'll have end of September showers, no wind, no hail, lightning and thunder, yeah, but no wind, no hail. Highs in the low 80s today. And here we go. Watch them just kind of collide on each other here for the afternoon and evening hours. Shouldn't have any problems with the morning commute, but like I said, umbrella, I wouldn't go anywhere with it today, tomorrow, the weekend. Look at what happens on Friday. Say hello to the I-44 corridor again. Everything moves up from southwest up to the northeast, and that lasts into Saturday morning because rain doesn't want to really diminish until we get done with Sunday.
And then, are we still looking at the majority of the area that could have up to 2 inches of rain? Or?
Majority of the area is all good. Yeah, we're all going to have rain by the time we end up Sunday. But when we look at this Monday morning in our accumulation numbers, the western part of southeast Kansas is going to have exponentially more rainfall than what we'll see on the eastern part of southwest Missouri. I think that holds true for the south and the north as well. I think we're going to see the majority of our rain down south on Friday with our heaviest bouts of rain, and it'll deteriorate then as it moves up into the northern portion of the 4 states.
All right, we'll keep an eye on that. Thanks, Michael. Well, 6 people are injured from a crash on Missouri 171 near Asbury. According to the Missouri Highway Patrol, a work truck was westbound on Baseline Boulevard, yesterday afternoon when it failed to stop at Highway 171. It then crashed into the side of an SUV that was southbound on the highway. Both vehicles went off the road into a nearby field. The work truck then caught fire. Medical helicopter took one of the injured people to the hospital. METS, Carl Junction Fire, the Missouri Highway Patrol, and the Jasper County Sheriff's Office all responded to the crash. There's no word on the condition of any of those injured. CDC says an increasing number of children are hospitalized for COVID-19. Freeman Health System yesterday hosted a media briefing to discuss pediatric COVID cases in the Joplin area. Right now, all children hospitalized for COVID at Freeman are unvaccinated.
The age range has been from less than 2 weeks to almost 18. And then the vaccination status was unvaccinated, some due to age.
Pediatricians say they have also seen severe symptoms in some child COVID patients and say they recommend eligible children get vaccinated. Joplin and Crawford County Health Departments report more COVID-19 deaths. In Joplin, 2 more people died with COVID-19, bringing the total number of deaths in the city to 173. Patients were an 82-year-old woman and a 78-year-old man. 6 more people in Crawford County have died with the virus since last week. That brings the total number of COVID deaths in Crawford County to 113. Students in Crawford County, Kansas could soon have the option to go maskless in class. After meeting with the Crawford County Health Department, the Pittsburgh School Board determined starting October 4th, students have the option to go maskless if the following countywide requirements are met. Crawford County must have 40 or fewer new COVID cases per week. The county's case numbers must be stable or trending downward. Local hospitals must have space for COVID-19 patients, and school absences caused by COVID must be under 3%.
I think a return to normalcy is important, but I think it's also important to remember that we're going to continue to look at data. And if the data shows us that we start having an increase again, this gives us the flexibility to go back in mass to make sure that we're keeping our staff and our students safe.
Crawford County Health Department Director and a Pittsburgh high school student share their thoughts on the new mask policy later in our next half hour. Missouri Southern yesterday hosted a regional college fair. It was a chance for high school students to get information about area colleges as they decide where to attend. More than 30 colleges and universities attended, including Kansas University, Missouri University, and Missouri State.
They have the opportunity to kind of get an idea of what they want to do, where they want to go in the future, because ultimately it's about the students. Even if they don't choose Missouri Southern, we still want them to know what they want to do with their future, and so that's what this is for, is to help them make decisions, get those connections, and start working towards their future.
The fair was held in conjunction with the Missouri Association of College Admission Counseling. Webb City celebrates homecoming this week, and yesterday folks gathered along Main Street for a parade. The night culminated with a bonfire at a field near the middle school with lots of food trucks and fun for the family.
Because you know, back in older years, that's what they did before big games. They had a big bonfire, and that's where we kind of decided to bring this back. And you know, not everything from the past is bad.
Homecoming week celebration didn't stop there. Local businesses like Maggie Jane's didn't hesitate to paint their locations and the town red in support of their Cardinals.
We're all about the community. We want to make sure we support Webb City. We want to support the schools 100%. And by that, we can decorate our window with painting the town red and make sure the schools and all the kids know that we support them and we can do everything we can.
Webb City will welcome in Branson for their homecoming game on Friday. McDonald County R1 School District stopped offering strawberry milk at lunchtime, and some 4th graders were not happy about that. We never got strawberry milk. So they let the district know by writing a petition to bring back strawberry milk. And you know what? It worked. Yesterday, the school got its milk delivery, which included strawberry. The 4th grade class also got a reward of strawberry milk and cookies for their efforts.
Like I didn't have the taste like I used to do. But then I started leaving lunch very thirsty. I only had water the first whole day, but when I get home I have something to drink. So then I decided maybe there's kids like me in the school.
Additionally, today is World School Milk Day, which celebrates the health benefits of school milk programs.
I stand united with Esteban and the fourth graders at McDonald County. Awesome job by you. Do not be deprived of your strawberry milk. In the words of Mr. T, eat your vegetables, drink your milk, stay in school. And if it's strawberry milk, all the better.
All right.
Great job, kids. I'm very, very proud of them. Geographically speaking, our rain is entering the West Plains area to the east and just about into Wichita in the west. So that gives you an idea about how far away it is. Now, even though both systems are moving our way, it certainly is going to be a while, and so it won't affect our morning commute. Highs in the low 80s this afternoon, and then we can talk scattered showers beginning about the noon hour and carrying us into Thursday night, and then will become more widespread for Friday afternoon into Saturday morning.
All right, that's a look at this morning's top stories in weather in our first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News, tenants in Texas talk about what it was like when their apartment building exploded. Plus, follow me to freedom.
Follow me to freedom.
Babies allowed to roam around the house, maybe better adjusted for the future. And if you feel overworked and underpaid, guess what? You're not alone. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. More real news in the morning. We'll be right back.
There's casino.
In Consumer Watch this morning, while the labor market has been staging a recovery, Fed Chair Jerome Powell says the economy is far from maximum employment. Still, there are plans to reduce some of the Fed's economic support, such as tapering bond buying. And Powell was grilled by lawmakers about plans to reduce support when the labor market is still recovering. More workers are saying, "Show me the money," according to a report out this week from Robert Half. 50% of U.S. employees feel like they are underpaid, and overall U.S. salaries are expected to increase nearly 4% in 2022. But 1/3 of workers say they are ready to quit if they don't get a raise before the end of this year. A new congressional report finds more cases of baby food with high levels of dangerous toxic metals. Some lawmakers are calling on the FDA to more strictly regulate their products, but Nature One, which makes organic baby formula, is taking steps on its own to reduce the levels of certain potential toxins even lower than current requirements.
I don't wait for government to lead me to that destination. It's up to me to have a conscience for my consumer.
Toxins found in baby foods from other companies include arsenic, lead, cadmium, and mercury. Ford creates 11,000 new jobs over the next 4 years as it expands its electric vehicle production. The automaker and battery supplier SK Innovation will invest $11 billion to build 3 battery factories and an electric truck plant. Ford predicts the expansion will help it build more than 1 million electric vehicles a year. Well, no more fare matching at Delta Airlines. Over the weekend, the air carrier cut its best fare guarantee program. Under the program, consumers were promised they would receive the best fare on the airline's site. If they found a lower price, travelers could either get a full refund or receive the difference and a travel voucher. That's it for Consumer Watch. We'll be right back.
Last night, an apartment building in Dallas, Texas exploded. The suspected cause is a gas leak. J.D. Miles with more on the people who survived.
It was just a boom, and it rocked everybody a building.
Because when I got blew back, I thought I was gone. I thought my life was over with.
They are the voices from those near the center of an explosion that reduced part of an apartment building to rubble.
When I came outside, I thought each unit was finna start blowing up. So that's why I started running up the hill.
Paul Randall grabbed his 2-month-old grandbaby and started running when it happened after 10 this morning at the Meadow Creek Apartments. His family is among 200 displaced from their units, who tonight are depending on the Red Cross for dinner and temporary housing.
We don't even know where we're going to stay at tonight. We don't even know where we're going to lay our head at tonight.
Lakeisha Williams suffered cuts from the blast, which she says happened after Dallas firefighters responded to concerns about a natural gas odor and tried to break into a unit.
One of the first responders, she went out there to the fire truck and got something out of there, I guess, to open the door to go in. As soon as she did that to the door, the apartment just blew up.
4 firefighters were rushed to Parkland Hospital, where they were initially listed in critical condition. But the city's fire chief revealed that they are all expected to survive, along with the others injured.
There is no such thing as a routine call. At any given moment, the health and safety of our brave men and women can be placed at extreme risk.
The city of Dallas promised an investigation in a statement. Also in a statement to CBS 11 News, Atmos Energy says our highly trained technicians began performing safety checks of Atmos Energy's system. Atmos Energy has verified that our system is operating as expected, and we have found no indication that our system was involved. Whoever was at fault, a number of tenants tell us they don't feel safe returning to the complex.
I don't want to go back over there. I don't want to stay over there. It's not safe. It's not safe. I don't want to go back over there.
City's now encouraging people interested in helping the affected families to donate to the Red Cross on the Dallas Foundation's Disaster Relief Fund. We'll be back with Healthwatch next.
On the road to recovery, retailers throughout the Bay Area are gearing up for a busy holiday season. But one South Bay mall held a job fair to make sure it has enough workers. But as Katie Nielsen found out, there seems to be more people offering jobs than those looking to take them.
Table after table, managers from stores and restaurants sat ready to interview interested applicants, but few showed up.
Our schedules are really flexible, so depending on your availability.
Alyssa Castrojohn is one of only a few dozen people who came to this afternoon's job fair at Westfield Valley Fair Mall.
Flexible hours maybe for like sports and extracurriculars.
She's a junior in high school and looking for her first job, something part-time.
Maybe not too like chaotic, more like chill like place to work.
For the most part, representatives from the mall shops and restaurants said it's been slow.
How many applicants have you guys had so far today?
0. We've seen a lot of kind of foot traffic, but nobody really stopping by.
Economic experts say that's surprising considering California's unemployment rate is staying steady around 7.5%.
I think we will see a greater return to work over the next couple months.
Michael Bernick is the former director of the state's Economic Development Department and says while the majority of people on unemployment saw their benefits run out on September 4th, that's not the only factor at play. Workers face added challenges during the pandemic like transportation, health concerns, and child care.
This is a very different situation, again, that we've seen in previous recessions and recoveries.
An employee shortage due to COVID is making it to where hiring managers have to fill in for people who call out. This makes the process for hiring new employees harder because of all the extra hours that have to be put in. Companies like Macy's is offering incentives to help fill their staff shortages. Well, allowing your baby to play freely in their home environment could have a significant impact on their development. A study by the Society for Research and Child Development monitored infants who explored their homes with everyday objects like remote controls, cabinet doors, and boxes. Researchers say letting your baby safely roam teaches them how the world around them works and is just as beneficial as specialized learning toys like puzzles and blocks. We'll be right back. Coming up, a car crash leaves 6 people injured, and some students may have the option to go maskless to school. Also, Webb City kicks off homecoming.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 6:30. I'm Tanya Bach. We've got rain in the 4 states today, and Michael has been busy in the Weather Center watching it.
Yeah, it hasn't been too bad as of yet. We're going to get through the morning commute just fine. But by the time we get ready to head home, a little bit of a different tune, and that's going to carry all the way through the weekend. At 7th and Rangeline in Joplin right now, 67 degrees, and that humidity all the way up to 93%. Even though the temperatures are mild, you'll notice it's a tad bit sticky outside. We've got one out to the west and one out to the east. The one out to the west is the one packing all the lightning. It's headed our way, as is the one right now just about in West Plains on the Missouri-Arkansas state lines. So we're bookended, and everybody out to the west, that's all the rain that they got yesterday. Central eastern portions, I know you didn't see a drop. That's going to change here by the time we get to Sunday. Our temperatures ranging anywhere from about 65 to 68. And the severe thunderstorm risk map does not mean any wind or hail. Remember, you get that light green, that is simply some thunderstorm activity. With the cloud cover that will arrive here, it's pretty clear right now, but with the cloud cover that will arrive, we'll temper it down, go low 80s. And now let's talk about our rain. Here that comes from both sides. So we'll see a little bit more geographical activity than what we had yesterday. Take us into Thursday night. Certainly the western portion of the 4 states is going to receive the most rain by the time we get into Saturday. For Friday, we're going to reload for the afternoon and run the old I-44 corridor in a southwest to northeast movement all the way into Saturday morning. And then Saturday into Sunday, we get additional rainfall for the afternoon and evening hours. And starting October, not only on a wet note, but hey, at least it's not scorching hot.
At least it's not scorching hot, that's for
Not
sure.
too
I'm
bad.
looking forward to our first weekend in like temperatures this low, and
Dipping down in
Long
overnight lows into the 50s after the rain's all said and done.
it'll be nice. All right, thanks, Michael. Well, 6 people are injured from a crash on Missouri's 171 near Asbury. According to the Missouri Highway Patrol, a work truck was westbound on Baseline Boulevard yesterday afternoon when it failed to stop at Highway 171, then crashed into the side of an SUV that was southbound on the highway. Both vehicles went off the road into a nearby field. The work truck then caught fire. A medical helicopter took one of the injured people to the hospital. METS, Carl Junction Fire, the Missouri Highway Patrol, and the Jasper County Sheriff's Office all responded to the crash. There's no word on the condition of any of those injured. CDC says an increasing number of children are hospitalized for COVID-19. And Freeman Health System yesterday hosted a media briefing to discuss pediatric COVID cases in the Joplin area. Right now, all children hospitalized for COVID at Freeman are unvaccinated.
Range has been from less than 2 weeks to almost 18. And then the vaccination status was unvaccinated, some due to age.
Freeman pediatricians say they have also seen severe symptoms in some child COVID patients and say they recommend eligible children get vaccinated. Joplin and Crawford County Health Departments report more COVID-19 deaths. In Joplin, 2 more people died with COVID-19, bringing the total number of deaths in the city to 173. Patients were an 82-year-old woman and a 78-year-old man. And 6 more people in Crawford County have died with the virus since last week. That brings the total number of COVID deaths in Crawford County to 113. Classrooms in Crawford County, Kansas could become mask optional, but only if the county meets certain coronavirus-related health requirements. KOAM's Mike Mahoney spoke with the USD 250 superintendent and the director of the Crawford County Health Department to learn more.
Face masks in the classroom has been a contentious topic across the country, but the USD 250 school board has crafted a solution that hears the concerns of both sides.
We've been working with Crawford County Health Department and our health officer to come up with criteria so that it does provide that sound basis that if we do decide to go mask optional, that it will be based on something that is vetted by KDHE and local data.
Starting October 4th, Crawford County students have the option to go maskless if the following countywide requirements are met. Local hospitals must have space for COVID-19 patients. School absences caused by the coronavirus must be under 3%. Crawford County's case numbers must be stable or trending downward. And Crawford County must have 40 or fewer new COVID-19 cases per week.
If we have more than 40 active cases, new cases a week, then it's going to put more pressure on the community system, on the hospital systems, on the medical systems. So that's how we came up with 40 cases.
Pittsburgh High School freshman Blake Posnick says he thinks the new class mask option is a winner.
I think it's a really good option because some kids just hate the masks in general and they'd be happy to take it off. And so I think that it would be a good choice in general because and it also gives the option that the people that still want to wear their masks can still wear the mask.
The new class mask policy goes into effect next week, but will the county have met the school board's criteria to give students a mask option?
We won't make the official announcement until the end of the week, but the numbers are definitely trending that way.
In Crawford County, Kansas, Mike Mahoney, KOAM News.
Superintendent Proffitt also says he and other superintendents will meet with the health department at the end of each week to discuss local data and then let parents and students know if classes are mask optional for the following week. Missouri Southern yesterday hosted a regional college fair. It was a chance for high school students to get information about area colleges as they decide where to attend. More than 30 colleges and universities attended, including Kansas University, Missouri University, and Missouri State.
They have the opportunity to kind of get an idea of what they want to do, where they want to go in the future, because ultimately it's about the students. Even if they don't choose Missouri Southern, we still want them to know what they want to do with their future, and so that's what this is for, is to help them make decisions, get those connections, and start working towards their future.
The fair was held in conjunction with the Missouri Association of College Admission Counseling. Webb City celebrates homecoming this week. Yesterday, folks gathered along Main Street for a parade. The night culminated with a bonfire at a field near the middle school. Lots of food trucks and fun for the family.
Because, you know, back in older years, that's what they did before big games. They had a big bonfire, and that's why we kind of decided to bring this back. And, you know, not everything from the past is bad.
And the homecoming week celebration didn't stop there. Local businesses like Maggie Jane's didn't hesitate to paint their locations and the town red in support of their Cardinals.
We're all about the community. We want to make sure we support Webb City. We want to support the schools 100%. And by that, we can decorate our window with painting the town red and make sure the schools and all the kids know that we support them and we can do everything we can.
Webb City will welcome in Branson for their homecoming game on Friday. McDonald County R1 School District stopped offering strawberry milk at lunchtime, and some fourth graders were not happy about that. So they let the district know by writing a petition to bring back strawberry milk, and it worked. Yesterday, the school got its milk delivery, which included strawberry. The fourth grade class also got a reward of strawberry milk and cookies for their efforts.
Like I didn't have the taste like I used to do. So then I started leaving lunch very thirsty. I only had water the whole day, but when I get home I have something to drink. So then I decided maybe there's kids like me in the school.
And he was right. Additionally, yesterday was World School Milk Day, which celebrates the health benefits of school milk programs. I apologize earlier, I told you it was today. It was yesterday. That's a look at our top news stories. Coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News, progress made when it comes to the possible government shutdown because of spending. And the rising cost of childcare. Should mothers stay home with the kids? But first, it's 6:37.
Lightning still picking up there on the west side. The thing moves closer to Wichita. The one out to the east coming out of northeast Arkansas, jockeying the Missouri-Arkansas state line, is getting close to West Plains right now. So we won't have any worries as far as our morning travel goes, but everything just kind of moving right at us. So by the time we get to the KOM news at noon, we're going to be talking about that rain moving in. Clouds are going to obviously reemerge just like they did yesterday morning, highs in the low 80s. So here we are as a kind of combo this afternoon and evening. We'll get, once again, it's going to be the western portion of southeast Kansas. It gets the most rain, but it'll be a little bit more scattered than what we had yesterday. Pushing into Friday, we're going to run from southwest up to northeast just in time for high school football kickoff. And for Saturday afternoon for Missouri Southern and Pittsburgh State, looks like we're going to have some additional rainfall as well. Now, temperatures aren't going to be bad at all. Not going to be one of those that, humidity's high, but at least we're not talking about getting up into the high 80s or anything like that. Actually starting off October on a pretty manageable temperature note. Be back with more KOM Morning News and Nation Watch next.
Topping Nation Watch this morning, progress in Washington. Yesterday, lawmakers announced they will be able to keep the government from shutting down at midnight tonight. As for President Biden's legislative priorities, there is still a lot of work to be done. CBS's Laura Podesta has more.
Congress has a deal to keep the government open.
We are ready to move forward. We have an agreement on the CR, the continuing resolution to prevent the government shutdown.
The House and Senate will vote today to fund the government through December 3rd.
Democrats don't want to shut down the government. Republicans don't want to shut down the government.
800,000 federal employees will not be furloughed, and critical agencies dealing with the coronavirus pandemic can continue to work.
It's going to be a home run.
Last night, members of both parties took a break from this week's political gamemanship for the annual Congressional Baseball Game, a charity fundraiser event. President Biden made an appearance, speaking with both teams. Republicans won 13-12.
Just their second win in a decade.
Back at work today, Mr. Biden's two legislative priorities hang in the balance as Democrats try to hash out a deal amongst themselves.
I'm looking forward to having good negotiations in a good faith manner, okay?
West Virginia Senator Joe Manchin called the president's $3.5 trillion social policy package fiscal insanity. But progressives are promising to sink the $1 trillion infrastructure bill without it.
I want the infrastructure bill to pass. I voted for it. I want it to pass. I'm a former mayor. But we've got to pass both of them.
House Speaker Nancy Pelosi said she'll bring the infrastructure bill to a vote on the floor today, but did acknowledge she can delay it. Laura Podesta, CBS News.
The infrastructure bill already passed the Senate. The larger social spending bill has yet to come up for a vote in either chamber. As for the short-term government funding bill that'll prevent the shutdown, it does not address the looming deadline to raise the debt ceiling to avoid U.S. default. Now, the bill does include more than $6 billion for relocation efforts for Afghan refugees, as well as more than $28 billion for disaster assistance in the wake of all the recent devastating hurricanes and wildfires. That's a look at today's top national story. Let's check back in with Michael for our Something to Talk About.
Thank you, Tanya. This morning on the KOM News Now Facebook page and our morning Insta poll discussing affordable child care. As families across the country struggle to make ends meet, many working mothers and fathers are struggling to figure out the balance between work and child care and dealing with the cost of child care. The costs of child care can quickly run into the tens of thousands. And many working parents face extremely tough decisions. Part-time work versus full-time work versus stay at home and not have to pay for child care. So we ask what you think. Should parents stay at home with their children or find employment and leave the kids with someone? Right now, 66% of you say no. When it comes down to it, stay at home with the kids. You can always make your voice heard each and every morning by going to KOAMnewsnow.com/vote or connecting with us via the KOM News Now Facebook page. We'll be back and celebrate birthdays and anniversaries next.
We take this time to honor today's four-state hero, Floyd Simon, who served in the U.S. Air Force from 1942 to 1946. A native of Frontenac, Kansas, Simon was an instructor. To Floyd Simon, we thank you, our four-state hero.
A big birthday party that's going to take place in Neosho today. I believe we have a future equestrian on our hands right there. Her name is Brinley Hall, and she is celebrating her big third birthday. And Brinley, I want you to know that this comes with love from Mom, Dad, and Sissy.
And Trip Fox is 7 strong now. His birthday was actually yesterday, but why not celebrate all into the weekend?
In Parsons, we've got another 7 strong, and it is Kaylin Murphy. It's called All Dressed Up for Your Party right there. Kaylin, love from Nana and the whole family.
All right, turning 18 this year, it's Katie Smith. And Katie, as I understand, is a varsity cheerleader at Carl Junction High School.
Bulldog pride right there. Candace Harris celebrating her 45th birthday. Miss Candace, a very happy birthday in Jasper.
Ivan Voorhees turning 79 years old this year. Love the shirt there. And Ivan is celebrating in Lamar.
I mean, if you don't want to flip them, I could just talk about the Voorhees and their Cardinal fans. I was just waiting for Kyle to pop up. What up, Kyle? He's celebrating a birthday in Neosho. And Kyle, I'm not going to give you disclose the relationship here. Just know that Becky loves you and says happy birthday. How about that? I'll leave it at that. Thank you, Becky.
All right. Jacob and Amber Jennings are celebrating 10 years together. That's a fun picture there. Jacob and Amber are in Jasper.
I can't tell where they are, but it's warm. I know that. And I almost want to say it looks like maybe a beach behind it. I'm not sure.
I thought it kind of looks like a billboard. I don't know.
It looks cool though.
Yeah.
I like that. Enos and Alice Perez Look at this. What a milestone. They're celebrating their 60th anniversary. The Perez's are in Humboldt, and Enos and Alice, I want you to know that these anniversary wishes come with love from both family and friends.
Turning 61 this year, Lisa McAtee. She's in Girard. I understand she's a longtime employee of the Southeast Kansas Education Service Center at Greenbush. Love that place.
Glenda Leroy, a happy birthday in Chanute, and Barbara Hill. She is celebrating her 75th birthday. Now, Miss Barbara is in Miami, and everybody out at the Miami Nursing Center, practice your social distancing. But when you see Miss Barbara today, make sure you wish her a very happy birthday.
All right, David Russell turning 59 in Chanute today. In Pittsburgh, Amber Ames is celebrating birthday number 37, and Benny Green is 68 in Miami.
Happy birthday and happy anniversary to all on this last day of September. That's where you can send them into birthdays at koamtv.com, or you can always go to our website, koamnewsnow.com. Now, here's Tanya Bach with a very important birthday announcement.
That's right. You can be a part of the KOAM Birthday Club. All you have to do is go to our website and sign up. And once you do, you'll get special deals from local businesses. Go to KOAMnewsnow.com and sign up for the KOAM Birthday Club today.
Did have plenty of stars and a great shot of the moon late last night into early this morning. And now look at where we stand. That's a live shot outside of Television City. Those clouds, they moved in, and they moved in fast. Now, we haven't seen any rain as of yet, but we're actually in need of a little bit, because if we go back to the first day of September, we should have about 1.16 inches more of precipitation than what we've picked up during this last month. So, it'd be nice to get a little bit, especially the last 2 weeks have been extremely dry. There we are, pretty picture over 7th and Range Line, and very comfortable to begin our work day. 67 degrees, and school day, not leaving you out, kiddos. 67 degrees, humidity all the way up to 93%. Now let's talk a little bit about the humidity, and I want to focus in on this orange right here. It's that Gulf moisture that we've been talking about. And as it's settled right here in northeast Arkansas and generated this rain, normally we'd see, it just kind of track off that way. But look, it's got to follow the moisture path. So all this right here, that's why it's taken a little bit of a curve and headed toward us. Now that's what we're going to talk about for the eastern portion of the 4 states. And then out west, we got this big one that stayed on the far western portion of the precipitable water boundary, and it's moving toward us as well. So that gives you an idea about why we've been dry to start, but we're kind of surrounded by it. We're starting to see this one creep into portions of the Ozarks there, getting closer to Branson. It's now moved on the other side of West Plains. And the one out to the west, just about on top of Wichita. Now, the one out to the west, you want to talk about some heavy rain, because this is also throwing down lightning like that. This is going to break up just a little bit. Now, it's going to bring us precipitation, but not as heavy as what we're seeing right there. And that gives you an idea of all the lightning. Now, here's the interesting thing coming off of yesterday. You could have taken a ruler through the 4 states and shown where that rain hit. I look at that straight line right there. So we didn't see hardly a drop in the central and eastern portions. Really not much to the south or the north and the central part either. It just all stayed out in western and southeast Kansas, and obviously they're going to get more with that other one moving in. But today, a little bit more widespread. Temperatures for our morning commute, you can roll down the windows right there. Look at that, 63 to 67. Absolutely gorgeous. And we are kind of the main activity. You got that coming off of the Gulf between Alabama and Mississippi and what we're anticipating out of central Kansas. But yeah, by the time we get to the afternoon, we'll be in the thick of it. The nice thing is no wind, no hail, just good old-fashioned thunderstorm activity. Now, we haven't had a chance to catch up on Sam. Still a Category 4 sitting out there in the Atlantic Basin. Storm swells are going to be the biggest issue for not only Puerto Rico, but also the Dominican and Haiti. Because when I show the wind radius here, that gives you an idea how far those tropical storm and hurricane force winds expand. Really not affecting any of the islands. Bahamas and Bermudas, they'll also have storm swells. But as we progress into the weekend, East Coast is actually going to have some storm swells as well. So that takes care of the letter S. Now, we've already fast forwarded to V. That's right. Coming off the coast of Africa, we've got Victor, now a tropical storm, yet to reach hurricane force. And wouldn't it be ideal if he can just spin out there in the middle of nowhere and not play any role on our weather. As far as what we have in the 4 states on this last day of September, partly cloudy skies. We've already seen them grow. We talked about that. Highs around 82 degrees. So let's talk rain. Here we go. Like I said, we get bookended, comes in from both sides, and that's why we'll actually see some rain in the east and central portions of the 4 states. As we work through Thursday night, we get a little bit of a break for Friday, but don't let your guard down. Here we go on Friday afternoon. We gather in from the south, just in time for a little high school football action. Going to be a wet one, and then that's going to last to Saturday morning. Headed out to the Missouri-Pitt State football game, take the umbrella, because it rolls through from Saturday all the way into Sunday as well. So wet, but temperature's not too bad to start October. Be back. Wrap up this edition of some 4-state magic on the KOM Morning News right after this.
What makes Johnson?
Here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. 6 people are injured from a crash on Missouri 171 near Asbury. According to the Missouri Highway Patrol, a work truck was westbound on Baseline Boulevard yesterday afternoon when it failed to stop at Highway 171. It then crashed into the side of an SUV that was southbound on the highway. Both vehicles went off the road into a nearby field. The work truck then caught fire. Medical helicopter took one of the injured people to the hospital. Metz, Carl Junction Fire, the Missouri Highway Patrol, and the Jasper County Sheriff's Office all responded to the crash. There's no word on the condition of any of those injured. Joplin and Crawford County Health Departments report more COVID-19 deaths. In Joplin, 2 more people died with COVID-19, bringing the total number of deaths in the city to 173. The patients were an 82-year-old woman and a 78-year-old man. And 6 more people in Crawford County have died with the virus since last week. That brings the total number of COVID deaths in Crawford County to 113. Webb City celebrates homecoming this week, and yesterday folks gathered along Main Street for a parade. The night culminated with a bonfire at a field near the middle school, lots of food trucks and fun for the family. Missouri Southern yesterday hosted a regional college fair. It's a chance for high school students to get information about area colleges as they decide where to attend. More than 30 colleges and universities attended, including Kansas University, Missouri University, and Missouri State. That's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door.
Let's look as we kind of hurry. It feels like hurry up and wait, because we know the rain's coming from both sides there. But like I said, we're going to get out unscathed for that morning commute to work. So no worries about that. It'll really be for the afternoon and evening. Temperatures low 80s. We've already seen the cloud cover increase substantially. And remember, those of you out in the western part of southeast Kansas coming off of that 1/4 to 3/4 of an inch that you got yesterday, it'll continue to fall for those of you in the central and eastern part of our highlighted counties. Finally, a little bit of rain, some much needed rain. It's been a very, very, very dry 2 weeks, and then as we roll into Friday, additional rainfall going to get us just in time for a night of high school football.
All right, well, coming up today at noon, we're making a cowboy brisket in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
Of course, your morning news continues on KOAM. CBS Morning News, that's coming up next.
Or you can switch on over with us on Fox 14, where your only local morning news continues.
And this morning, we're going to talk about an Amazon driver with a little bit of a different delivery method.
This will be interesting.
He just pulls up and he just launches them at your house. Yeah, I wouldn't like get electronics from him or anything. And it's nothing fragile.
Nothing fragile, eh? Maybe he just thinks they're fridge packages.
Okay. Maybe he just,
we'll go with that.
He just delivers pet food. He's like, ah, there it goes. Hey, that wraps it up for this Thursday edition. Stay dry, enjoy your day, do me a favor, be safe. We'll do this all again tomorrow morning.
And we're going to do it again today at noon.
Today's